weeks ago about the crumbling of the geographic area of Palos Verdes, and that was after the study came out that Palos Verdes has a huge fault under it that could possibly actually trigger the big one in California. You know, I've had a lot of tension based on these crazy politicians here who want to destroy our state, you know, financially and in every way possible. And now I see that not only do we have to deal with that stress, but we have to deal with the fact that at any time a huge earthquake could hit California, and it could be triggered like a domino effect by Palos Verdes area, that area. And I grew up there. You know, I just wanted to pay my 2 cents to Palos Verdes, the people in Palos Verdes. They're an isolated society there. Culture, I should say. And their police department is a typical small town, kind of very well paid. I heard that they're possibly the highest paid police officers in all of the United States. That's what I saw on a blog. Somebody put up a complaint blog about the Palos Verdes Police Department a few years ago. Then they had it taken down for some reason, and then it went back up again. But cops up there are brutal. They're really brutal. And they do play politics, very, very heavily politics. And so I had my share of trauma from the Palos Verdes Police Department myself. And, you know, I wasn't a criminal because I did a lot of work for Palos Verdes High School and their employee youth program. And my parents didn't give me an allowance. They weren't rich parents. My dad had quit the Lawrence Welk show in 1974 when I entered high school, so I didn't get any allowance. I didn't get anything. And I didn't even get, you know, when I had a sprained wrist from falling on the driveway, my dad wouldn't even take me to the doctor. So, you know, we were pretty destitute, as my parents had only lived there for 4 years, and then my dad decided to quit the Lawrence Welk show for some reason. Not quite sure why, but everything went down the tubes, and I had to work really hard to keep going, and it affected my grades, you know, because my parents were always fighting, and it was a very tough thing. I mean, when we moved to PV, the first couple years were good, but then, like I say, whatever caused my dad to quit the Lawrence Welk show, I have no idea why he did that. It just sent us all into a tailspin. So, like I said, I had worked for a couple of years in their youth employment program in high school, cleaning people's houses, ironing for them, babysitting, whatever I needed to do. I worked hard so I could pay for my own, you know, moped to get to jobs and things like that, you know. I paid for my own clothes. I was proud not to cost my parents any money to put me through college. I was very proud that they didn't have to fork out money for me because they couldn't afford me, you know. And I eventually found out that I was from my mother, that I was born out of wedlock and came into the world unwanted, so they had no real support for me. Yet I had, you know, several awards in high school in music. I got the Best Freshman Award in orchestra. Then I got the USC Music Camp Scholarship in orchestra. And then I got into the jazz choir that had gotten to Montreux a couple times. I got into that, and I got Outstanding Stylist. But when I recently looked to find out what happened, why I wasn't invited back to the choir reunion, you know, they were going to have a one-day event where everyone would rehearse all day long and then perform like we did in high school in the auditorium. And Mr. McRoberts, the conductor, never put my name on the list to contact me, to invite me. He did not include my name. And so I looked, you know, I figured, wow, this is really heavy politics on someone like me, who was really burdened in her teenage years of lack of support from her parents. They were fighting all the time. They were disrupting my life with their marital problems. My mother was very abusive. My dad was abusive too. My mother was actually jealous of me. And on graduation day, I didn't even get celebrated in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't taken to dinner like my rich peers were. Most of the people in Palos Verdes were raised by very successful people, doctors, lawyers. So I was pretty amazed to see the degree of hatred towards me, that I was left off of any reunion contacts because I ran into some problems with a future police officer who had relations with me when I was like 12 years old or something. And he'd take me to these forts and have sex with me, and he'd sexually abuse me, and then he ended up getting together with my mother after her divorce when he was a police officer for Hermosa Beach. And these cops wanted revenge against me for not allowing me to be pimped out to their friends. Particularly one of them in the Hermosa Beach Police Department. So one day, this officer threw his baton at me in Hermosa Beach when I was probably about 21 or 22 years old. He threw his baton at me for nothing I had done illegal, and I complained to the police chief, and it got him in trouble, according to the police officer who had sex with my mother. And he complained to her about how I got his friend in trouble. And ever since then, the Palos Verdes Police Department has been on my case all of my life, even into San Francisco here. They've been trying to get me fired. They've had me fired at law firms. They create hysteria about me. I've never been convicted of a felony. And they have tried to ruin my life everywhere I go. They've tried to get me evicted by influencing roommates against me. They have had me, I've been physically assaulted because of the communications of the Palos Verdes Police Department to my roommate, who was told to go talk to them, totally out of her jurisdiction in Redondo Beach. And we were all getting along. I was sharing my food with my roommates because they were broke. Okay, and so I'm saying that these people in Palos Verdes are devilish. There's something cursed about them. They're Satan's people in Palos Verdes. When those awards, and I was never called back because of these police problems I had with their interfering in my personal life. And they've been, like I say, I've been in San Francisco 30 years now, and I've noticed psyops run on me and at corporations, and FBI agents standing behind me, overlooking my work area, watching me, and then getting me psyoped out of these corporations with their activities. And then I witnessed law firms firing me because the police contacted them. At least 2 law firms fired me. And I had just been given kind of like a raise and a new job to do, and then the police complained about me with my conflict with a roommate. And the law firm fired me for no reason. They made up something that everyone's afraid of me all of a sudden. That kind of thing. So these cops have been trying to kill me off for a long time. They've been trying to get me evicted from this place. I've lived for 20 years. Then when I had to send a letter through a lawyer to let the owner here know what his building manager was trying to do to me, working with the police. And she got let go here. She was 80 years old. She was, after the lawyer was sent the letter that that this could be a huge lawsuit that could be for millions of dollars based on its accusations against this tenant, who was me. Yeah. So she had already been in trouble with the court for filing false stuff about a tenant. The police were involved in this, though. The accusations against me were just outrageous. So I'm saying that the cops in Palos Verdes are sick in their head. They're sick in their head and they're cursed. And that now that Palos Verdes has been notified of the judgment of God coming based on some earthquake fault, they'd be very fortunate not to fall into the ocean as the final resting place.